Hello, welcome to this new quick little tutorial where we cover MagicaVoxel shader function. This is something that is quite powerful when it comes to create new structures, terrains, minimaps, all kind of stuff for your level designs that you work with later on in Magic Palette. We have a lot of shaders available to us from various people that did code them. It is something that can automate workflows that would take you a lot of time to do otherwise. Um, it's hard to describe shaders. Shaders can have various forms, and I will show you some examples, so this will make everything more tangible, and you can understand why this is so exciting for us to work with. To get started, we want to, of course, having MagicaVoxel installed. If we check the latest version out right now is 0.99.71, I think. If you go into your installation, there you will see that there is a shader folder, and this is the place for all the shaders that you can source online. Just put them in there, and off you go. The shader itself are usually just small code snippets, or even in text format. We can open one, for example, that we wrote here. And as you see, this was done by Lachlan MacDonald, and it has just a few lines of code that describes how the shader works. I think it's quite a quirky code format, so I didn't look that much into this. But all that you need to know is that everything is located in the shader folders, and once you download shaders online, you just drop them in here, and you also can organize them a bit as I did here with subfolders. This will be all reflected inside of MagicaVoxel. So to find new shaders, this is of course something that we can search online. There is from MagicaVoxel itself officially, there's resources page where you can find a few first shaders, these here. As I just did see, the Lachlan MacDonald ones are the ones that we can cover here quickly. Usually they refer you to a GitHub a repository where you can download the full package. Just download the zip and then you get everything. Sometimes you also have direct links in the description. And from there, you drop them into the folder that I just did show you on your MagicaVoxel installation. Here we have one of the larger collections of shaders, and you can now see here pretty well what shaders can do and for what they can be used inside of MagicaVoxel. There are different type of shaders. There are brush shaders, there are primitive brush shaders, they call them here, and volume shaders. All of them have different use cases. For us, not all of them are super interesting or exciting, but some of them are very, very powerful when it comes to designing voxel-based levels or structures. So this is where we are. If you want to find out more about shaders where I can download, I will link some of these resources in the description, of course. And this wiki here especially is really good to learn how to work with them, and also find out all the parameters and what they do. For example, if we dive into a simple one, this grass brush here, well, simple, it also already has a lot of parameters that you can tweak and change, but you get an overview, and then you see there are these parameters here: the direction, the mode, the density, the growth, and the seed. It's often similar also with other shaders, And you already see here the mode 0, 1, 2, and 3 have different types of how they use, for example, colors here. We can change the density, as you see here. We can change how tall the grass will grow. And then, yeah, you get the idea here with what is possible already with just this one little shader here. We have other brushes that are super straightforward, like these. They just create a volume in space out of voxels based on a geometrical volume. And these ones here, I will cover some of them more in depth in separate tutorials. These are super cool when it comes to terrain creation and generation. For example, we use the height map one, the erode is pretty powerful. We can also work with sand or soil that can cover top surfaces of a level and make a color switch there for your magic palette later on to assign a new block. The flood one is very, very powerful because it lets you basically flood your scene to a certain level. So these are just a few. First one from Lachlan MacDonald. We have other people that also did write shaders. For example, I can recommend the ones from Mode V's. He's one of the very few people actually that did write MagicaVoxel shaders. It's only a handful of people that ever did dive into this topic, it seems. He has on his Gumroad and other places. You can find some of his shaders, and please support him on Patreon or Boosty as we do, because we think he does an amazing job with writing custom shaders. There are people that work with fractals and things like that. You see some here. They have written shaders that can do voxel-based fractals. Also pretty exciting when it comes to create cool structures just out of the box, because these are almost impossible to build by hand, I would imagine. So with all that said, we are ready and have our shaders in our shader folder of our installation. Let's fire up MagicaVoxel and see where we, or actually how we use them. First, let me open a nicer palette, just a gradient, neat gradient one. And when you are inside of MagicaVoxel, it's important to note that you always work with shaders inside of an object, or on top of an object, or alter an existing object. And if you create from scratch based on shaders, there are brushes and these primitive mode brushes, they still need an empty box, kind of, or a bounding box, and this also defines how large we can go. We go 192, 192, 192 for now. This would be a 2 by 2 land in the sandbox, for example, because one land is 96 by 96. This gives us plenty of room to work with, and the shader itself are located here on the top right corner. You can use this code bracket icon, and then it gives you an overview of all your shader that I just did show you in the folder before. We have, I won't go in depth into certain shaders, but I will show you some of them here so that you get an idea what can be done and how they can be used. For more specific shaders that are highly interesting when it comes to level design, we'll do separate tutorials so we can get them better covered there. This is just to get you started. basically what you can do is working dynamically with shaders or static. Every shader has this play button here and a refresh button. But as you will see in a minute, you also can work dynamically with the shaders. So let's choose our first one. We go, for example, with a very simple one. There's zigzag. Zigzag? Yeah, why not? And here's the trick to use them dynamically. You go on your tools to the voxel shader mode, and then choose attach. And now you just drag out your volume that you want to work with. And as you see, it already made us some quite cool zigzag patterns all through the volume that we dynamically can scale and work with. We can now alter. This is always where kind of the magic happens. It's where you dial in the parameters. So top right in this argument section, you change, for example, the width A and the width B with this shader. And straight out of the box, you get something. Once you confirm or right click, you will have it built finally. You can't alter it afterwards. You need to redo it or overwrite it if you've done that. But this is now voxel based. As you can see, we have the voxels. We also can render this quickly out. Maybe a bit better resolution here. And you see, this is quite cool pattern, zigzag pattern that we get here. But this is, of course, just the beginning. We can do much more sophisticated or use sophisticated shaders. For example, let me check here from Eric. We have a terrain generator, if I'm correct. Yes. And as you see, it gives us this hill. We can change the attitude of the hill. We can change the seed. That's kind of the randomization. We also can scale it in various. We can also kind of scroll through the landscape. It's infinite, of course. And yeah, there's so much that can be defined here. But when it's cool, it gives us natural terrain really just with a few clicks, as you can see. There are other terrain generators, and I will cover them more in depth in another tutorial that have a bit more flexibility. For example, I can recommend one from ModeWiz. He has, for example, this sand dune one is quite cool. It's of course a bit more specific because it gives this really let me change the color a bit so you can imagine it even better. It gives this dune type of structures or landscapes, and as you can see, you can, for example, with the scale parameter, you can dial in how this should look until you like it. And yeah, gives you this really cool landscapes just with a few parameters dialed in. From there, you can also kind of alter or terraform your existing creations. And for this, we have shaders like a road, for example. Let me check if this works. Yeah, as you can see, it kind of starts to dig away, based also once again on your parameter, dig away certain sections of your landscape. It makes it quite like a moon structure, or more like, what can I say? I mean, we already came a bit into a destructive mode here with a road. We can we did see this. I'm not sure if this is possible here, but I think it should. Yeah, it covers everything with small, maybe the height a bit less. And I need to redo it. Yes, and you see it covers all the top surfaces with pink grass, voxel grass, tiny voxel grass pillars. This is quite experimental and maybe a bit wild to play on, because as we know, every voxel becomes a full block. But still very powerful, because doing this by hand is very tedious, as you can imagine. So just one, what can we show here? We have, let me go in and do, for example, a simple cylinder. Once again, I use the dynamic shader option with attach and shader mode. So I drag out, and you see there we have a simple cylinder that we can also squish or bend, kind of. This can also be a gear, greeble. This one is cool once you start dialing in here a bit more depth, for example, yeah, like this. And already, just with this, we have a really cool base layout, maybe for a land that we want to play on or build on. And with all this, of course, it's super important to say, for me at least, it's usually a starting point. You want to build on top, you want to alter it, you want to change, you want to kit bash, kind of take this, take another one. For example, a good example, I think, from ModeViz is this one. Let me check if I can attach it here. Yes. So as you see, on top of what we just did create, we now have these arches and pillars that we can work with. There are also some parameters, not that many. One is for altering the floor, and the other one is, you see it barely, but if I zoom in, there's this middle section that you can change a bit. But you see it's quite cool, because it gives you can scale, as you see. Maybe make them a bit smaller. The floor is a bit wild, but why not? Looks cool. And yeah, just like that, I usually will keep them in a separate object, so I can alter and combine them to my liking, and have them not already combined or melted together right now. But as you see, we have this quite cool maze on top of it, where we can, or it's not a maze, you just can run through it, and you see it's because we have really close blue shades, it's hard to see, but we can, that's one too much. As you see, we also could only use, for example, the pillars itself and cap the tops like this, and build another structure from there. Yeah, you see, it's super powerful when it comes to create geometrical designs, but also natural designs. So it's right in the intersection where we want to have it as level designers. It gives us so many powerful tools. A lot of these shaders need a bit of work, and you need to dive into the parameters and what they exactly do. Often best is to just try them out, of course, and then you will see what you will get. And yeah, I would say this is something that everybody, I need to go to touch again, everybody should at least give a shot, who is working in MagicaVoxel, because yeah, as you see, there's so many cool structures that can be done here with just a few clicks. These holes, it's like a Swiss cheese type of thingy. But the cool thing is, yeah, it's really versatile and can be altered in various ways. Of course, not only with shaders, but also manually. We can now start build on top of this, as you did see, or remove volumes, or only use a section and combine this. This is exactly where we have a lot of fun once we dive in. You also could, for example, float this one with height would be, let's say, 120 or so. If we run it, it floods the whole volume until level 120, so from the bottom to the 120 elevated voxel height. And as you see, this is pink now, but if we go in render mode and would choose glass transparency, you can see yeah, you could choose this as water in your level and have it then really have these caves explorable with a diving experience or whatever. So as you see, amazing opportunities for us as designers. I hope this helps you to get started with shader in MagicaVoxel. Let me know in the comments if you have questions or need more resources, and we have you covered in more detailed tutorials for sure. Yeah, happy creating or create your own worlds, and give us a like and a sub. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.